Hi, this is J.D. Fagelson, the creator of Dark Night of the Scarecrow, and you're listening to the Timo and Harley Show.
Welcome to the Timo and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Timo and Harley Show. I am Timo. Over there is my partner in mind crime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben the Headhunter Harley.
That's me. Yeah, Kentucky Headhunter.
Yeah, right. Speaking of Kentucky, I'm not in Kentucky, but probably down in Tennessee right now. These are our vacation shows. I did talk last week about we're doing a couple of shows here, kind of bunched up together. Yeah. Because of vacation. So we're going to try to do 2 shorter shows in order for me to leave time to get ready for vacation. And last week, as expected, was a normal length show. We tried real hard, but it still ended up being a normal length show. So this week we're going to try it again, but it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. I'm not even going to try to look. Harley, the audience is full of deep thinkers. They got our shit figured out.
They know.
I think they know. They got this stuff figured out. Now, I got some good news for you, Mr. Ben Harley, and I've got some good news for everybody listening. This show is going to be a crypto-intensive show.
Yeah.
And we're going to
have pretty much the movie on, or right on through the movie.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we have a little, little touches of cryptozoology and things like that.
Yeah.
So let me get to some stuff that I looked at, and this is going to be where we start talking about this stuff. I'm looking forward to this. So first up, Mr. Ben Harley, I don't have the exact year. I believe it was 1975, but I watched the Doctor Who story, Terror of the Zygons. This is the Tom Baker Doctor Who from the mid-70s. I mention this because this Doctor Who happens to take place on Loch Ness.
Oh, Loch Ness. Oh, Nessie.
There's some villains that are steering the Nessie. Yep.
No, they're not messing with Nessie, are they?
You get to see the Loch Ness monster. Oh, like in this, he is brazenly full on the screen. Looks like he might be about 9 inches high. Might be superimposed there on the picture.
Tough, boy.
Got some fun stuff there. But I don't talk about Doctor Who a whole lot because it's sort of like Star Trek. I know. If you start talking about Star Trek, you're going to get people going, oh, did you see the Klingon number 4 in episode number? No. Hold on. Step back.
Wait a sec.
Step back. I like the Tom Baker Doctor Who's because when I was a little kid, it was on Sunday nights on PBS, and they had bad rubber monsters and things on it.
They did.
It was basically Benny Hill production values with science fiction writers going. So it is what it is. But this was a fun little episode, and I've been kind of watching these with Angio a little bit just to kind of expose her to it. There's a lot of things I could expose her to, and I think she might appreciate the Doctor Who more than most things I can come up with, I can imagine. But they're fun little harmless shows. They're really written well, and Tom Baker's a funny guy. He's a funny actor. It's a good show, and that's the only Doctor Who I enjoy watching because I grew up with him.
Sure.
So I'm not a Doctor Who freak. I like Tom Baker. And I like the Tom Baker Doctor Who, so we watched that. But it was Loch Ness, so I thought you'd like to know that.
Yeah. So Nessie made some appearances.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
9
boy.
inches.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Looked like it might have been shot in a 4-year-old's bathtub. Yeah. Really good stuff there. So moving on here from 1984, Mr. Ben Harley. Watch the movie. I think you've seen this, and I think you enjoy it.
Okay.
I'm being silly because I know you've seen it. I know you enjoy it. We watched Razorback.
And I just saw a picture. Was I somewhere? And I just saw like a picture, like a still photo of Razorback.
I got a Razorback T-shirt of all things.
Man, that's nice.
Got that from
But it had a full-on picture of Razorback and stuff like they were working on, like the
really
creature. Or whatever. Yeah. God, where was I looking at that? But oh, that's awesome, Tim.
Yeah.
What a film, huh?
Oh yeah, it's good. You know, it needs. I don't like the way it was put together totally, but there's enough of it there that I really like. I love the way it was shot. I just love that look. And man, Australia for like 10 years there was really putting out some cool shit, I think.
Yeah.
And that was definitely one of them.
That was one of them. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Good Jaws ripoff though. Very, very good Jaws ripoff.
Yeah.
So, another Jaws on land. Movie. I don't.
Sure.
The Jaws on land ripoffs are much better than the Jaws on water ripoffs, except for if you want to consider Orca in that pantheon. I know it's not a ripoff, but I'm saying though it's made because of it. Like Friday the 13th and Halloween were made. Friday the 13th was made because of Halloween. You know, of course, Orca has done that. But
for sure.
Yeah, it's fun. I think the thing that there's a couple of things in Razorback that I think hurt it. One, I don't hate Gregory Harrison, but they really don't make you identify or really care about him a whole lot.
No, they don't. Mm-mm.
I do like the little blonde gal from Road Warrior.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, boy, is she a button.
Yeah,
she puts his mind. Tell you that one. Tell you, she always did though. I always had a crush on her ever since Road Warrior and all that. I think she is gorgeous. I think
you wanted to fly away in a helicopter with her too.
I did. I wanted to fly. I wanted to get rid of that creepy guy. I wanted to get away from it. Yeah, absolutely. But good time watching Razorback, Mr. Ben Hall.
Ah, good.
When's the last time you've seen that? You need to put your eyeballs on that.
It's been a little while. It hasn't been too long. Maybe a year or two, maybe. But yeah, it's something I need to, because I do have a nice stack that you've given me that I have my favorites in. Your
Hall of Famers?
That I like to go back, and that's definitely one of mine. You know, one of my, your desert island movies.
Right.
You know,
it's better than the stack of Hall of Shamers.
Oh, and we have some dandies, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We do. All right. So there's
some of those are pretty fun too. And I probably take some of those with me too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, sometimes like there is a cliff that you fall off of where it's so bad it's so good. And everybody has their own limit. You know, but I think ours are fairly similar to each other's, and I think that we've enjoyed the roller coaster ride of falling off that cliff a few times.
Yes, sir.
Let's see here. So here's one on Amazon Prime that I want you to watch.
Okay. Sure.
Now there's two new Bigfoot documentaries. Now one I didn't get a chance to finish, so we'll talk about that later. And that was about, of all things, an Australian Bigfoot documentary. We just talked about Razorback there for a second, and so very good. But I didn't get to watch all that one. However, there's another one I really want you to watch. So from 2017 on Amazon Prime, I'd like you to watch the documentary "The Skunk Ape Lives."
I think I might have seen this one.
Okay.
Refresh me a little, Tim. I think I did watch this though.
It's the skunk ape, so it's down in Florida.
Yeah.
And so they're just discussing like it's a guy who's doing the documentary. It looks like he might even be filming it by himself. Like he puts a tripod up and like does his little speech. And he looks like somebody who might be begging money at the estate of the people that do Duck Dynasty. It's kind of what he looks like. I know he hadn't seen a dentist since probably, I would say, Clinton was in office. So, but on the other hand, my prejudice and stereotypical sightline aside, he seems like a pretty well intelligent guy, and he's putting this thing together. And it's a documentary mostly about eyewitness accounts and stories. Our favorite, at least my favorite.
Oh yeah, yeah, me too.
There is a great story.
I like the computer generated ones they show.
You do? Yeah, you like the wool pulled over your eyes, right? Yeah. There's a great story. This ought to remind you whether or not you've seen this one or not yet.
Yeah.
There was a guy, he's like a Forest Service guy, worked for the state of Florida. Okay. Now, this is all foggy. It's all foggy, but he had a legit job. And there was a fire going in, I guess the lower Appalachians, I guess would be touching Florida or something. I don't know, but there was a fire going on, like a forest fire of some sort. And they were trying to help with the wildlife around there because obviously when there's a fire, the wildlife gets displaced.
Yeah.
They're driving the wilderness down there in Florida and they hit something. Well, they thought it was a bear. Okay. So they get out and they're going to put it in the back of their truck that they have, the Forest Service truck or whatever. to take it back to wherever, for whatever reason. So they weren't going to leave like a dead bear out there, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
So they put the thing in, and they realize, wait.
Yeah, I've seen this one.
Yeah, this isn't a bear. And they put it in the truck, and they had ran it over and like broke its jaw and everything. Yeah. And they described it much more like a Sasquatch.
Yes.
What they put in the back of the truck. So they called who they're supposed to call. Yeah, who they're supposed to call. I mean, they actually were working. They were the authority, but they called their higher ups. Yeah. They said, we've got something here. We don't know what it is, And I don't think they were freaking out yet.
No.
I think they were like, what the hell is this? And that's kind of the thing. These people worked in the wilderness. So really being surprised at what you saw was not a huge surprise, which is something that is not really mentioned a lot in these Bigfoot shows. So they weren't really, I think it started dawning on them what they had.
What they were witnessing.
Yeah, what they had. Exactly, so the interesting part of the story was he said a couple of government guys came and they looked and they wanted to see where did you see this at? They took blood and hair samples from the back of the truck and everything, and they were driving them now. Like they drove them back out to like where they saw this, where they had this, or where they hit with their truck this thing. And so the government guy told the forestry guy, "Oh yeah, well you hit a bear. Yeah, you hit a bear." Yeah. And the guy's like, "Sir, that was not a bear. I know what a bear is." And the guy was like, "No, you don't understand.
Yeah,
you hit a bear," and he threatened him. He threatened him and basically said if you ever say anything besides it was a bear, they were going to take his retirement away.
Yep.
A lot of crazy shit.
Yeah.
And okay, so me saying this, you could be listening right now, rolling your eyes, going, "Oh, here's another crazy story." But if you watch the person tell the story, first of all, his face is blacked out or pixelated out. Mm-hmm. Voice is a little disguised. They lowered the pitch in the voice, but you can still hear him. You can still hear him talk. Yeah. You still hear the words he uses. And anybody who can read other people will know this guy was not exactly the most creative guy.
No. Mm-mm.
He told the story very matter-of-factly. He wasn't excitable. He just told the story. Yeah. And he clearly was unhappy and was nervous. And I think the story had taken place, back in the 90s?
Yes, yeah.
And I think this movie was at least released like in 2017. So let's say it was 20 years after the fact.
And he still
had his face pixelated out. Yep, but he said is that this government guy clearly knew what they'd hit.
Yep.
Clearly knew what they had. And clearly did not want anyone to know. Wanted to keep it under wraps.
It's funny because like you said, they were riding with them. Mm-hmm. And could you imagine how scared you would have been? Like you're riding with some government officials and
it would be like driving with a mobster, wondering if they're gonna
make it out alive.
Yeah, if you're on their hit list,
and if you say anything else, I'm gonna give you one of these.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then that was the main story that really stuck out.
Yeah,
in this documentary. But what I liked about it is that it's sort of like the Bigfoot show I watched from down in Alabama, I think it was, where it was the town that loved Bigfoot. It was fun to see different stories in a different region. And it was kind of cool to see this because we don't hear these stories.
No.
And that's what was interesting. These are new fresh stories to us.
Yes.
At least to us. I'm not saying they're fresh to everyone else that's in the Bigfoot world, but to us they were fresh. And fascinating. And I do find the Southern Bigfoot kind of a fascinating legend, a fascinating tale. It tends to be a little smaller and a little more aggressive.
Yes, yeah.
And I always talk about how there's a lot of zoos that get hit by hurricanes and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I am not convinced at all that this isn't like some kind of orangutan population.
Busted loose. Yeah,
population down in the Everglades and things like that, and could be some crossbreeding going on with something. Who knows? Who knows? Anything's possible.
Because they show there's that one picture that someone had got with like their backyard cam or something, and the thing looks like just like a wild ape, like with long hair, and it just looks like a wild gorilla, not even gorilla. It's like an ape, which I find interesting too.
Well, you got to think
what is that thing? Like?
Exactly, Harley. Here's the thing: you got to think about it. So if you report to your sheriff's office that you saw an orangutan. What's the difference between saying that and a Bigfoot?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they're really you're going to be looked at just as suspiciously. And as a matter of fact, I think more people would believe you saw a Bigfoot than a fucking orangutan, which actually exists. How many years have I struggled with when I saw a big cat? Yeah, in the woods and stuff, and it struggled and struggled. And one of the biggest confirmations I had was the bobcats I've seen out here. Yeah, because I've never seen bobcats before until I lived out here. The last couple of years, I've never seen a bobcat. Yeah. I haven't seen many pictures of bobcats, much as I've seen one. My point is that I confirmed it wasn't a bobcat. No, that I saw.
And we've heard some more stuff about that recently, and people have spotted large. Yes. So to your credibility too,
Exactly, right. And so what made it unbelievable wasn't that they didn't exist. It's just that people said they didn't exist here. Oh, well, if I took a panther and took it and put it in a cage and unleashed it into the woods, then guess what? It does exist here. Yes. It's as simple as that. Yeah. Okay. So the thing is like with the Bigfoot thing, I'm not so sure that people, I mean, there's that one famous picture that looks exactly like an orangutan. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? It's like there's a picture, it's sitting behind a couple of like, I don't know, palm tree looking things.
That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah. The one I was talking about earlier. It's the same thing. It looks like a little ape, like it's like long haired orangutan, but it has like dark hair. It's not, it's like black. And it looks like it has a beard. He's got a beard. He's got white beard.
So it's a modern.
Yeah. He's a hipster. Yeah. He's a hipster. Yeah. You know what I mean? So. But it's just like, it's a crazy photo, know? Right. Almost like it's smiling at the camera, man. Like, how you doing? What's happening?
It looks just like an orangutan, like Clyde. From the Clint Eastwood movies. Anyway,
but like a Rob Zombie version of Clyde.
A little bit. Yeah. Well, and again, so I mean, and there's like been, what was that one footage too that the person had of? It was clearly a little monkey that was up in a tree. Yeah. That was swinging around and stuff. And this was out in the woods. I mean, it's like so.
Oh, yeah. It was on Finding Bigfoot, I think.
Was it? Okay. So it's like there's a lot of things like that make you stop and think. It's like maybe there is an orangutan population that's living out in there. And maybe that is what is being mistaken. Sure. But why would it even? I don't even find that as a mistake. No. I don't think it is a mistake. I think if it's an orangutan, it's still as fascinating to me as a Sasquatch. Yeah. And again, so I will reel it back to saying, okay, so for all you people that think we're fucking crazy, is what I said crazy at all? No, I mean, I don't think what I said is crazy. There are hurricanes, there are zoos. Zoos get hit by hurricanes. There is a possibility that those animals get set free. Do you think that all of like the birds in the birdhouse couldn't fly away and just like live? They're animals. I mean, they can, and breed, and things like that. Of course they can. So if that's not crazy, why is and if that's true, if people will agree with me, then you're gonna have to stop and keep that agreement going when I say this. Well, then how come nobody sees them? So you're agreeing with me this is possible, but nobody sees them except maybe the people who see the skunk ape, right? Right. So if I'm saying it could be an orangutan, now I'm just fooled somebody into actually admitting what me and you think. So if it's possible that there's orangutans that nobody's seen except for the people that have seen them, which always blows my mind. Nobody's seen them. Nobody but the thousands of people over thousands of years have seen them. Okay, so if we're going with that logic, then how much of a stretch is it that there is another ape creature living in the forests of America that's rare, that's been here for a long, long time, that is shy, that is hidden? Right. And it's hidden so well that thousands of people see it too. And so if it is more indigenous to a mountainous, colder climate, then why is it wrong to say that it's just a mistake that people are identifying the escaped orangutans down in Florida with the Sasquatch of the Pacific Northwest? Right. Or maybe they're all the same thing, or maybe they're not. I mean, who knows? The point is this, is that I'm not arrogant enough to call all those people liars and to say I know exactly what's out there at all. I'm not even arrogant enough to know what's in my acreage of woods out here. No, right. And trust me, it's humbling When you start seeing things, you get humbled. Like, maybe I shouldn't tell people things aren't there and don't exist, because I'm seeing things out here I had no idea I would see.
No idea.
When you're almost running over turkeys. Harley, when you go to your Walgreens, do you worry about turkeys flying in front of your car?
No,
I do.
And they're mean, man. They're mean too. Those suckers, boy. If they get
So anyway, but it was very interesting. Again, it's called The Skunk Ape Lives. Now,
yes, it is. Yeah, it was a good one. Yeah.
You did see that one. So I guess they put it back up onto Prime then. So here's
I just watched it recently too. But
you did. Okay, good. Yeah. So did you enjoy? I enjoyed it. I liked it because the story seemed fresh and everything. So here's something else. I'm going to throw.
And I'm interested in that Skunk Ape. I think it's just the name Skunk Ape. Skunk Ape.
Right. So, did you know that one thing I learned in this documentary was that the skunk ape did not get its name because of the odor it gives off. The skunk ape, there was a sighting of a Sasquatch-like creature that had a white stripe.
Yes,
down its front and back, like a skunk, and they called it skunk ape, and that's what it was. I think it was a small thing actually; it wasn't even big. They called it skunk ape. So I just found it fascinating because it's a different region. They're fresh stories to our ears and stuff. Now I'm going to piggyback on that too because last week, I believe it was last week or 2 weeks ago, I told you I watched the show The Supernatural Sasquatch.
Yes,
with the guy with the young handsome guy with the beard. That we like to tease a little bit that goes out the way. And he makes very, very calm and rational documentaries.
Oh, they're good.
He's just very fascinated to the point where he's losing his mind he's going down the rabbit hole. I feel bad for him, but he is. So we're talking about the supernatural Sasquatch and all that stuff, and we discussed it a little bit. And I sent you this text. I asked you this question. So I'm gonna pose this question now on the show. Sure. I think it's something worth discussing a minute. And again, to all you Bigfoot people out there, I'm not making fun of you. I'm trying to keep us honest. I'm trying to keep us honest.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep us grounded as much as possible because I don't want to be looked at like a maniac or an insane person. Okay? I want to keep common sense and keep things reasonable. All right? I mean, it's fascinating enough that something that hidden, that big, could be out there, walking around on 2 feet. So if the Sasquatch is a supernatural or paranormal entity, as some people claim that they think now that maybe it is, because it hides so well, they just can't believe it.
Right.
If we're going to go with that theory, and we're going to go with the theory that the Patterson-Gimlin footage is real.
Okay, yeah.
So if we assume that that's real, which I think me and you are on I'm always going to be on the fence until I have proof, but I'm on the fence enough to think, boy, that really could be. It's really strange in a lot of ways. And stuff.
Yes, yeah. It's fascinating.
Right.
The older I get, the more that it's cleaned up and things like that too, and you can see it better. It's just,
So let's just assume for the sake of argument that is real, and also let's assume that we're debating like if the Sasquatch is supernatural, paranormal, and if you're debating someone who says it is, and you just don't know because you don't know anything and stuff like that. I'm going to ask this, and I like people who any Sasquatcher out there listening. I would like you to ask yourself this question. I'm on your side. I am on your side, even if you think it has frequencies and things. But even if you think it talks to you in your sleep, I'm on your side on some level. I'm on your side here. I want you to think about this.
Chokeweed.
Right? Chokeweed, yeah. So when you think. So if this is all true, if the Sasquatch is paranormal and the Patterson-Gimlin footage is real, why didn't the Sasquatch disappear or get beamed up to its spaceship when it was caught on film?
Yeah.
It looks like a flesh and blood creature to me walking away.
Yeah.
And it was caught. And it saw it was being caught.
But it did not. It didn't spook it. It didn't. It just,
Okay.
Deep feet.
Right. Another question. Why didn't the camera, why didn't it screw up? Why did the camera work? Why didn't it malfunction?
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm hearing this over and over again. Oh, the camera's malfunctioning. And so the only malfunction I saw on that was when either Gimlin or Patterson fell off the fucking horse.
Yeah. Then it kind of got jumbly there for a minute, and then again he sat down and steadied it with a log or something. That. He laid behind one and kind of
So I want people that are into the Sasquatch thing to again. I'm on your side, but I just want to be honest about it. I mean, I'm curious in the truth, not about the I don't know, the stories and legends. I'm just curious about the truth. Like, what is it? Gigantopithecus? Is it just memories?
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think it's its own either. Or I guess.
Or you do
remnants.
think it's gigantic? I mean,
I don't think it is.
You don't think it's Gigantopithecus?
No, I think
really?
maybe if it's an ancestor of Gigantopithecus.
Well, that's kind of what I mean. I mean, obviously we're ancestors of humans from 100,000 years. I mean, it's still humans. But I mean, we're I mean, maybe crossbred with Neanderthals and stuff like that. But
I see they look different. Well, God, we don't even know what a Gigantopithecus looks like. You know what I mean? And every time you see pictures of it, it looks more gorilla-like, like more. It's like a giant gorilla. And I think the Sasquatch is not quite so much. I don't know. It has more human-like features, maybe, or I don't know. I have to get back to you, Tim, when I see one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think in your imagination, you're assuming. I think maybe something too where we differ is that I think you're assuming it's more human. I'm assuming it's not.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if it's more human. I just think it's more. It has human qualities.
Okay.
I guess I would say it's more ape, but I mean, it's just. I don't think it's the way people describe it. It has some human quality look to it. You know. Now you know me. I hate that whole. As much as the UFO thing, I hate the whole. It's just a throwback Neanderthal person out there. Well, come on, man. I
have a hard time with that. Yeah,
I do too.
I think that is very hard to believe. To be honest with you,
yeah, I do too.
Because I think a Neanderthal would be. I think they would be more.
Why would they be so huge too? I mean.
Well, that's true too because they were bulky, but I don't think they were taller. I think they were shorter, but they were. Yeah. And the other thing too is why wouldn't they be more curious and want to make contact?
Yes.
I look, there are Neanderthals and we are them. I just think that there was a bunch of just mildly different types of human. I think if there's anything to the theory of evolution, all that, I think we're all becoming closer to one thing. And so I think that those are just different types of people and stuff. That's my, I don't know. Who knows, right? I mean, we're all going off of the seat of our pants here. We don't really know much, but my whole thing is that I don't believe that either. I do believe there's wild men. I do believe there are feral people out. And I mean, of course, I believe that is absolutely possible and been proven.
We see them on TV too. They're called the Mountain Men.
It's Huckleberry.
Huckleberry.
In his yard
I've never been back that far in my yard. Like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a fair question. If the Patterson-Gimlin footage is real, and if people are if they want to convince me that Bigfoot is a supernatural paranormal entity, then you're going to have to tell me why didn't it disappear or get beamed up?
Yeah.
Why was it that there was multiple ones around there and they all didn't beam themselves up? They walked away.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Then you tell me because it's the onus is on you now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's fake, but what I'm saying is if it's supernatural, it had a good opportunity there to get the fuck out of Dodge. That was a good opportunity to
get beamed up.
Or disappear.
The best time to get beamed up.
Right, and I'm kind of throwing together it's an alien or it's an interdimensional being. I'm throwing them both in there at the same time. Okay, well, if it's interdimensional, why didn't it dimension its way out?
Yeah.
If it's an alien, why didn't it beam its way up?
Sure. Yeah. And my thing is, if it's an interdimensional being, I think it would try to make contact with us by now. Why would you be, for a lack of a better word, pussyfooting around? Why would you, I guess if they're here for whatever they want, I don't know.
I still think it's just people that are getting bored. I think they're out in the woods. I think they hear a deer or something, and it startles them. And I think they can't imagine that they couldn't find what was making the noise. I promise you that, Harley, it's tough. I mean, I hear things, and they're deer and stuff. I mean, I hear them all the time out here, and I can't see them. And I know they're right there. I just can't see. They're hard to see. I mean, they're just. It's tough. Yeah. And I think that people are having just such a hard time that they go out. They think, my God, I go out 6 weekends a year, and they think it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I can't find this thing. It has to be able to disappear because I know I'm hearing them. Well, you're fooling yourself into thinking you're hearing them.
Right. Right.
And there's a lot of things going on like that, I think. Okay. And I think if you're having an experience, a real one, let's for this another sake of argument, saying you are having a Sasquatch event as you're seeing something.
Sure.
And it gets away from you. You have no idea where it went. That doesn't mean it's interdimensional.
No.
It means it's a normal fucking animal that can hide.
It lives in the woods.
Yeah. How do you know you can climb a tree?
I really think they by just them staying still, is as much camouflage as they need to.
Absolutely.
Because your eye does not detect it. You know, your eye, and I do that all the time. When I look for something, like I'm like, what was that? I saw something. I'm looking for movement.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am. I'm looking for movement first. And then maybe, just maybe, I might be able to pick out. Now, this is something real strange, Tim. I was away for the weekend. We went to the cottage. No golf cart crashes. No one.
No road golf carts. Okay, that's good.
No,
that's good.
I didn't kill myself on my new Batman skateboard.
Oh yeah, no,
my little one wheel. Oh,
yeah.
Love that thing, Timo.
Yeah.
Oh, and I was waiting to get the evil eye from some of them old people up there. But you know what's so funny? Most of them were more interested than the younger people. They were like,
bet,
"Hey, what is that thing?" You know, and you know. What happens if it crashes? I said, yeah, tuck and roll, brother. Yeah,
Right.
Also seen a albino squirrel once, Timo, or more than once. We had one when, well, I was in college and I know I was on drugs and things like that and a crazy artist. But we actually did. Even when I wasn't on drugs, I saw we had an albino squirrel by our complex. Yeah. And you see him every so often, man. But it was the weirdest thing in the world. You know, like, there he is, though.
Right. And how many people have seen those? Right.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously, like I've never seen one.
I've never seen one since.
Yeah, I've never seen one.
Never seen one since.
Right. Well, and to your point, though, too, I mean, even out here, you only see a deer if it's moving through the woods, too.
Yes. Yep.
And sometimes you still don't see it, but you hear it.
No.
But I will say that it does come out of nowhere.
Yes.
Okay, so I understand what people are saying when they say it pops in and out of existence. I understand what they're saying, but deer do that too. It's just called that's why they're successful as a species, because it's very easy for them to stand still and then you don't see them anymore.
Right.
And they're quiet for the most part.
Well, I told you that I walked out there one day. I looked actually right through them because I didn't expect them to be there. I didn't, you know, and then that's why I'm like, there they were.
Right.
Not but, 20 yards from me. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I don't know, Tim. I first off, we're going into their world. Come on, man. You know, and I just think it's a little bit much just to believe in Bigfoot, and and it's taxing sometimes. But I'm going to go down, and unless I find out that this has all been a hoax, I still think I'm going to be, I don't know. I just don't. You can't hoax that much for that long. It's just not,
Right.
I just don't.
There's
too many people saying.
Right. I just do not. I'm sorry. I'm not saying people are. Because I refuse to do that. I'm not saying people are lying, but I'm just the thing when they're like, it disappeared right in front of me. No. Yeah. See, that's you're going to have to go in your own group. You can't sit at my table at lunch. You're going to have to go sit with those people over there because I don't want you sitting at my table at lunch.
Right.
It's just not. I mean, I'm sorry. I just don't. Because again, with the deer thing, I'm telling you, you can be looking at you just said it. You can be looking at a spot of woods. Yeah. And somebody, do you see the deer? Like, no, I don't see anything. I see a spot of wood. And then as soon as it starts walking, it does just appear. Like it appears out of thin air. And that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like.
It's like, yes.
That's why they can hide. It's just like a guy in a ghillie suit will do the same thing, right? I mean, you don't see him. And all of a sudden he moves through the wood, and then you can see him. It's an old cinema trick.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
sleight of hand.
Yes. But I will say one thing: if you can't have it both ways,
no.
So if that is real, then if it had the ability to disappear, I would think that Sasquatch would have disappeared while Gimlin, or I guess maybe it was Patterson was falling off of the horse.
Sure.
So while that was happening, if that spooked the Sasquatch, I would have put my cloaking device up right away. And then like, where'd it go? I swear I had my camera right there and it wouldn't work. Because that's a story you hear constantly, over and over again. How about this? How about there's a Sasquatch in front of you? You fumble for your phone or for a camera, and when you look back up, it's already walked off.
Yeah. Yep.
It knows how to do that. That's what they do. And a squirrel will do the same thing.
Yes.
So if you look up and go, oh shit, Sasquatch, and then grab in your pocket your phone and look back up and it's gone, it doesn't mean it disappeared in thin air.
Wait, what? Come on, Tim.
I'm just saying, even if you didn't hear it, if you didn't hear anything, it doesn't matter. Trust me on this, So it is, I think, a valid question, and I would like people to think about that.
Sure.
How about that? I just want you to think. And I'm not saying you should go off what I say, because none of us know shit. This thing is just fun to talk about.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And the people who don't like Bigfoot, I wish would understand that, okay, we're not all crazy. It's just fun to talk about sometimes.
Exactly.
You know, it is.
And
it's a mystery.
And it is. It's fascinating. And I've been fascinated for so long, you know, and I will be for much longer. Mm-hmm. And to the point where I hopefully someday can go out and do my own little research, or Timo and I can go do some research together and report back, you know, or something, you know. And we've done a little bit. We went out, you know, and went to some Bigfoot conferences, and we had some fun, and we met some people and talked to some interesting people. And, geez, you know, I mean, I've had nothing but fun with it, really, you know, and that's all I really ever want to have with it too, you know. So
it's just you don't want to have to defend yourself, like to be stuck with other, you know, guilt by association.
Yeah, and nowadays I don't really, you know, I get a lot more people that send me things or say, "Oh man, I thought about you the other day." You know, I had one of my brother's good friends, and mine too, you know, but he's my brother's age, you know, that's how I know him, and he sent me a picture the other day, him and his son, you know, next to this big, you know, it was a Bigfoot like cutout, you know, and some town they were at, you know, and they sent me a picture of it. I'm like, wow, there, you know, they're not like, haha, Ben, here, we found them. Yeah, you moron. Nothing like that. They're sending it because they know that I enjoy it and it's fun. You know what I mean? Like, they don't care, you know, and so we just have fun with it.
Right.
So,
well, it's just, you know, I don't like when people, and people attach their own ideas to other people.
Yeah.
And I don't like when people would attach to me that I think that there's like alien interdimensional monkey men walking around the woods. You know, like, no, I don't think that at all. As a matter of fact,
they're not monkeys at all. But they are interdimensional.
Well, I would be satisfied to know that it was a gorilla population. I would be satisfied to know, and I think that would be just as fascinating to me. I don't care. That's basically what we're saying. It's just a gorilla that walks. And they, you know, these things can get up on two legs and stuff. So it's like, I'm not saying I don't believe that, by the way. I think that we're talking about something that isn't a normal gorilla. But I would still find it fascinating to know, like, well, hey, there's something out there.
Yes.
You know, and it's become such a belief or disbelief that it's going to be real hard to cut through the BS.
Oh,
it's going to be real hard to cut through it, because once you get people like staking their reputation on something being or not being, then you don't get the truth anymore.
Right.
You only get that when people stake everything on getting to the truth, no matter where it leads them. And that doesn't happen very often anymore. And it's sad, but that's human nature a little bit, apparently. You know, so, but anyway, it was something I was thinking about. I know I texted you that question after we did the show last week. I was thinking about the supernatural Bigfoot, and I started thinking about it. I was like, well, if it could do that, why didn't it do it when it was getting caught on film?
Yeah, exactly.
When that's real.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm saying though is I'm kind of throwing it back into the researcher's face. Well, you can't say that's real, and then say it has the ability to do this, and why didn't it do it then? Then if the onus is on you to answer me, why didn't it do it? And then if you're so smart and you know everything, you know what they eat, you know they like bacon, you know they like Girl Scouts and fireworks, then why didn't it do that?
Yeah.
And they'll have a bad answer for me. Matt Moneymaker will. But speaking of,
I like bacon too, Timo.
Well, I know why you'd be tramping through the woods looking for bacon. I get that. I'd be with you probably. Sure. So, but speaking of feral monkey men walking through the woods, let's get to our official little film for this week. Mr. Ben Harley from 1944.
Do you think everybody's ready for this, Tim?
I don't know. From 1944, we have the movie Jungle Woman.
Yeah.
All right, let me get you out, movie guy, here and give you a short storyline.
I think I've dated a few jungle women over the years, Tim.
Yeah? All right, well.
Maybe.
All right, here we go. All right, here we go.
Yes.
Paula the Ape Woman is alive and well and running around a creepy old sanitarium run by the kindly Dr. Fletcher, also reverting to her true gorilla form every once in a while to kill somebody. This is what happens when you have no storyline or synopsis on the box of Blu-rays and you don't have a good professional one even on IMDb. So that's what we get. This is a sequel to Captive Wild Woman.
Okay, yeah.
Which stars Aquanetta. Now, I'm going to start talking about this. Before we start talking about it, I'm going to do this. Here's my big disclaimer. Everybody needs to turn off their sensitivity button now. Like right now. Okay? Especially today. All right?
Yeah.
There is a lot of racial element that I wasn't aware of with this series of films that I've discovered that I found very fascinating, and I just want to discuss them It is still America. We can do this, right? I just want to make sure that I don't want anybody. We're not hateful people. We're very curious people. This movie was made 1944. Okay, so it's very curious. Like how there are some things that are very reminiscent of today. Actually, so Aquanetta. Okay, that's absolutely. And both of these films plays Paula, the ape woman.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it's kind of like, what did I call it? A were gorilla or were ape kind of story. Yeah. Okay. So now in Captive Wild Woman, she turns into like the Three Stooges suited gorilla thing or whatever. Now, here's the thing. Aquanetta.
Yeah.
Her real name is Mildred Davenport.
Oh, okay.
She claimed, all right, that she was Arapaho. She was not.
No. Okay.
I think she was partially Arapaho and African American.
Okay.
And she hid this.
All right.
Because of the times that she was living in, and she wanted to be an actress, and she knew that if, unfortunately, at that time, that was not going to do anything for her acting career. Okay. So she had an exotic look to her because of her multiracial background. And so she had this kind of like exotic and she was hot as all get out too, which helps everything.
Yeah, sure does. Yeah.
But it was a sort of a secret. Okay, so I believe in Captive Wild Woman, she transforms into the gorilla, and while she's transforming, she becomes black.
Yeah.
Okay, and people just lost it over that.
Really?
And they accused this series of movies of being very racist and they like today.
She's like a wolf woman to me.
Well, today you would, yes, but she's an ape woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is a derogatory term to call anybody, to be honest with you, but especially an African American. And, you know, what's really interesting about it is when you actually go back and read what was being said by all of these people that were accusing it of being racist, is they said that it was and I'm using, again, turn off your sensitivity buttons. I am quoting here that it was anti-Negro, which makes you go, God, you know, okay. You know, but there was a lot of problems with this whole series. And I think Universal was a little taken back by it. I don't think they actually, I mean, you got a lot of people working on a movie. It's hard to have one nefarious person, you know, twirling the mustache going, I'm going to make a on purpose racist movie to do whatever the hell. But they really did. And the whole Hitler thing was going on. And they were accusing this movie of basically being sympathetic to Hitler and his ideas of the African American race. Yes, because it was a woman of color turning into a black person and then turning into a monkey, into a gorilla. Okay. So I mean, I'm just telling you. I think people. I think people read into things on either side of the aisle all the time when things aren't intentional. But you dig and you're like, okay, I can see this. So what happens? Okay, so we get Captive Wild Woman. There's a reason I'm explaining this. I'm not trying to push anybody's buttons. I don't want to bring up this show is a political free zone. It is. And I don't want anything to do with any of it. We're just talking about horror movies and movies here. I'm trying to explain what happened with Jungle Woman, the movie. Yeah. So I'm trying to set this up here a little bit to tell you, hey, this is what was going on. These movies were really controversial, which is the reason that Paula, the ape woman, isn't with the rest of the Universal monsters. Why isn't she?
That's true.
I mean, why isn't she she predates Creature from the Black Lagoon. She's right in there with the Wolfman. This is a very similar type of monster. It's just a woman.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't.
I don't know.
And I still to this day say that back then, all these movies had the guy in the gorilla suit. Like if they didn't have a regular monster or something, they would default
the mad scientist.
To a caged gorilla. That's all the mad scientists had when it was. They had a monocle and they had a gorilla guy. Got a gorilla suit. So you have Captive Wild Woman, which took all kinds of heat. They start making this movie, the Aquanetta and stuff like that. So it's already taken heat before people are seeing it. They're already calling it like this and that. So what Universal did is they said, well, we're not going to show you anything. So you have nothing to complain about.
Yeah, and they didn't show anything.
They didn't show anything. So what happens when you're shooting scared, when you're fighting scared, when you're running scared, this is what happens. So in order to not offend anyone or not do anything, what they did is they made a movie that didn't have a monster. And they were also trying to replicate, believe it or not, cat people. This movie, Jungle Woman, was kind of made as, and is supposed to be, a ripoff of cat people. Really? Yes. And if you go through and watch it, you can see moments where it's like, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. So there I have set it up. Okay, so what we have here is we have a sequel to Captive Wild Woman. What I didn't know and what you didn't know until now was that how controversial these movies were.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's why I'm going with this. So this movie, I had no idea how controversial.
Yeah, that's crazy.
These movies were, and it sort of explains the problems with this movie.
Yeah, because there's some issues with it.
Yes, so it starts off where it's a courtroom scene, basically, where they are flashing back to Captive Wild Woman.
Yes.
And the characters, one of the characters, again, Mr. Ben-Hur, I am on a freak out.
Yeah.
And I'm on an Evelyn Anchor's freak out.
Oh,
because she played Beth Mason in this movie. I haven't had a week without Evelyn Anchor's. I'm doing all right, Miss Ben.
You lucky devil, you. Yeah, man. I tell you.
My world's okay.
She's a pip. She's a lot of woman there.
I got Aquanetta and I got Evelyn Anchors.
Yeah.
They both got their anchors in me. I'm telling you right now. But anyway, she dies. Remember at the end of Captive Wild Woman, she's now the guy in the gorilla suit, and she's in love with the lion tamer guy. And the lion tamer guy is getting attacked by lions, and so she saves him from the lions, only to get shot.
Yeah, that's right. For saving him. Yeah,
for saving him.
Why?
For all her trouble. Yes. So, and something else that was because of when it was made, this was not as in your face as much as it should have been. So, like with the Wolfman, it's the moon. The moon turns him into the Wolfman. Okay.
Yeah.
With the Hulk, it's getting pissed off, and he turns into the Hulk. Right? Well, apparently, with the ape woman, it's when she gets turned on.
Yeah.
So when she has a hots for somebody, but I'll take that back. It's not when she gets turned on. It's when she gets jealous. Yes, yeah, jealousy inside of her gives her the rage to turn into the ape woman. So according
jealous a few times.
So according to J. Carroll Nash, who is the Dr. Carl Fletcher of this film, he's a good old character actor. He's in tons of shit. He's in Dracula versus Frankenstein. He actually plays Dr. Frankenstein in Dracula versus Frankenstein, the really bad, pudding-faced Dracula movie from the 70s, or Frankenstein monster. Yeah. So he is playing Dr. Carl Fletcher, who is a scientist now, who apparently even she was not dead. She was barely clinging to life.
And he took her and brought her back to life.
Yes. Yeah. So they did an old Friday the 13th switcheroo. They're not dead yet. No, you just think they're dead because their head was cut off. No.
Right.
Nope, they got better. So she gets better, and he kind of hides her out, I think.
Yeah.
With the ones she's getting better and stuff. So he's trying to kind of figure out what's going on with her. And she's transforming into things, but you never see it.
Right.
Which makes it, between that and the incessant flashbacks in the beginning to the first film, it gets really confusing. Really confusing as to what's going on.
Because the doctor has a daughter, and then what they do is she falls in love with Bob, right?
Bob Whitney.
When Bob shows up, it's all over, man. She falls in love with Bob.
Right.
And then, there's some really crazy scenes. She pretends that she got hurt from the doctor, right? And then goes in to show Bob what he had done or something, and then gets caught by his girlfriend. be showing.
I mean,
There's like
Aquanetta like wants Bob. Like,
yeah,
she's just jealous. She wants the men basically, and when the men pay attention to other women, Aquanetta's not having any of it.
No,
at all, and that's what gets her all aped out. You know, she wants, yes, yeah. But
so
what's
she's
hard,
trying to woo Bob a little bit. She's trying to win Bob over,
right?
But Bob's, is he the fiance of the doctor's daughter? I don't know if they were married.
I'm not sure exactly what they were. Yeah,
but there is a really good part in the movie, like really spooky, where they're out on a canoe ride.
This is what I was going to talk about. Yeah, this is what I'm getting to. So one of the scenes here. Now that was the part. There is a term that was kind of attached to Val Lewton called the walk. There's a scene where they have the walk. And so if you think of movies like Leopard Man, there's a scene where the girl has to go get bread for her mom and they don't know there's a killer about. And she tries to get her way back in. It's a terrifying scene. In Cat People, it's the scene in the swimming pool. And I Walked with the Zombie, it's a scene where the woman's walking down the sugarcane plantation and she's being followed by something. And it's very dark and creepy. It's a moment of suspense. Well, this was a walk. They call it a Val Lewton walk scene, where it's the scene. And it was actually shot as test footage.
Really?
The best moment in this movie was test footage.
Yep.
And that's what this was. So there is a scene where they go out. Is it Bob?
Yeah, Bob and the daughter.
Okay, the daughter. So it's not Evelyn Ankers, because Evelyn Ankers, I believe, Evelyn Ankers she was attached to. I can't remember which one she was attached to. We're talking about somebody different here. So
she was attached to the lion tamer.
Gotcha. Right. So the other two, they go out into a canoe.
Yeah.
And Aquanetta sees them and she gets all jealous as shit. So she sees them go out into this canoe in the middle of this pond or whatever.
Yeah.
It's got to be the same set as Creature from the Black Lagoon, by the way. But they go out there and she jumps in the water and comes at the boat underwater and it looks like a scene from Jaws.
Oh, it's awesome.
Never seen nothing like it in a movie this old.
No, and it is spooky scary.
Yeah, she's just under the water. Under the water. And you can see her hair and a little bit of her bottom side. And she's going straight like a torpedo.
At the boat.
Yes.
And it's funny because they're shooting it they can shoot it from a couple of different angles, but the one angle that's real spooky is they're shooting it looking at the couple in the boat, and you can see it coming. At the boat.
Right. The camera is in the front of the canoe, and you can and behind the couple, they don't see her, so behind the couple, you can see what is basically a shark without a fin.
Right.
Coming right toward the boat. And what's cool about it is she doesn't tip the boat over.
No, she drowns it.
She drags the boat under.
Yeah.
It's test footage.
And it's test footage. Yeah, that's the best. To me, it was the most spookiest. And I'm not trying to be weird or kiss butt, but it's one of the spookiest scenes I've ever seen. Really, I'm telling you the truth. It was absolutely, I was like, wow, they nailed that. Like, it is perfect, man.
Right.
Like, and that would have been a good scene in The Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. So what was funny was that when Universal decided to imitate Cat People in order to avoid the racist stuff, and really they just didn't want to show Aquanetta having all the black makeup on. That was really the problem. I guess it looked to audiences, it looked blackface during the transformation.
Right.
Okay, so in order to do that, you don't see any of this anymore, and everything is just suggested. Everything up until the final shot of the movie is all suggested. And this under the water thing was brilliant and just unbelievable. It is one I have never seen it before. That I can recall. I don't recall ever seeing that before. And I was like, wow, that was great. But man, does it stick out. It sticks out because it's so great.
Yeah, no, I thought it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, really, in cinema.
Right.
It was like scary, to the point where I was like, oh my God, oh my God. I felt like tense.
Right.
Like, now I'm not saying that the older movies aren't tense because there are some really tense scenes, but I'm saying it, like, for today's age, it was super, super tense. I'm like, oh my God, but that's funny. Test footage. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they were shooting it for. So a couple of interesting things here. Old Evelyn Ankers, who I've been talking about, I've been on a freak out with. She was married to Richard Denning. Speaking
really?
of the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
So she was, that was very interesting. She was married to him. The Christian Rubb, I think his name was, the guy the guy who was the groundsman, the old coot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Geppetto.
Was it really?
In Pinocchio. Yeah.
What? Really?
Pinocchio. Yeah, that was Geppetto. Yeah, he did the voice for Geppetto. I thought that was kind of kind of cool. The director, Reginald Laborg, he did a lot of those Inner Sanctum movies with Chaney.
Really?
And stuff. And he even did Voodoo Island. He even did The Black Sleep, which is a fun old.
Yeah.
I think that's got a Chaney and a Carradine in it. And then Diary of a Madman, which is a cult Vincent Price movie. So this guy would do his way around these kinds of movies and stuff like that. Yeah. I think everybody was handed. I think everybody was handed something here they didn't want.
Sure.
I really do. Yeah. And I think that the studio was trying to make money. I think they did pretty good with Captive Wild Woman. And Aquanetta was obviously a draw. I mean, the old fellows liked her. You know, and so I think what they were trying to do is they were trying to have their cake and they were trying to eat it too here. And I think that it doesn't work, unfortunately. I think that it's too subtle in a series that wasn't designed to be subtle. I mean, Captive Wild Woman to me is not a very subtle film. It's got the old Cash Corrigan or Ray Corrigan running around in the gorilla suit being Paul the Ape Woman, and it's the Three Stooges suit. It's Three Stooges monkey suit, you know? And then all of a sudden they try to take the series from like a wild circus horror movie down to a Val Lewton-esque cat people type movie. And it just and it's for the wrong reasons.
Sure.
Look, I'm not arguing the racism of it. What I'm saying is if it's an issue, just don't make it.
Yes.
If it really is, don't make the movie. But money talks. Money talks.
Yes, it does, Tim. Very much.
The next film, I talked about the next film like a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
It's Jungle Captive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Aquanetta, her contract ran out like 4 months after this movie, Jungle Woman.
Okay.
Well, she was discovered as being African American, at least partially African American. Well, they didn't renew her contract. Now, I don't know if that's because they felt like she had
lied.
But what would you do?
Right. Lie.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. You know, so it's kind of a shitty thing either way to kind of happen to her. So when they did Jungle Captive, they still have Paula, the Ape Woman. But they have no problems anymore, Mr. Ben Harley. Why? Because Aquanetta is no longer Paula. They replaced her with Vicky Lane. So they replaced her with another actress. But they also but it's a much better film because they took the gloves off. Why? Because Vicky Lane was a white girl. And so they weren't worried anymore about the connection, which I find that bizarre.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, why does that? I don't understand. And it's like it's like, oh, that gets you off the hook. I mean, to me, it makes it more distasteful. However, just speaking from a purely movie point of view, Jungle Captive remember I told you it was a were-gorilla movie. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she really turned into a were-gorilla. The third one that I don't think you've seen it because I had never seen it before. And I just watched it. We just talked about it a couple weeks ago because I'd watched it. And I mean, they don't shy away from this any more than the Wolfman shies away from things.
Right.
So what we have here in Jungle Woman is this strange middle movie in a trilogy where half of it's flashbacks and half of it's not there.
Yeah, them flashbacks were really weird.
And they were confusing.
Yes, yeah, very confusing. That's why I had to go back and I watched it twice.
Right.
Well, at first I was like, what the? Wait, what a second. Why isn't he, and it was a lot of it because of, I'm like, I know I've seen this stuff before, and you're right, it's because I had.
Yeah, we reviewed it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, it was just like, wait a sec. But I don't know.
And then you get the last scene. Well, you get the last scene, and you have a Planet of the Apes quality makeup job on Aquanetta, but they only show it the very last shot.
Yes. Yeah.
Over.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, for the most part, I think they have one shadowed out. They have one shadowed out scene
in the morgue. They pull it out of the, and then I'm like, wow, well, that did look kind of cool. Like no one was actually really shocked to see that. Like I would have, people would have been fainting.
Yeah.
No, they took everybody down there. Like, oh, okay, all right, let's go to lunch. Break for lunch.
Right.
You're acquitted.
Right.
What
right.
the fuck? Yeah, man, they wrap stuff up so nice and tight back then, didn't they?
Oh, I know. Yeah. Well, what's frustrating about it to me is that you get it's frustrating because you have the they're trying to avoid being being seen as hateful, and then the people that are policing them are making the movie bad because it wasn't really intended to be hateful, and it's just how it looks to them, just to them. And so it's frustrating. I mean, but I think that it's a frustrating subject, and it's not anything that we're going to solve or get into here. But I'm just saying that that's what makes the movie so inept and so weird and feel disjointed and stuff, because it is. It's just it's picked apart is what it is. Yeah. And then unfortunately we have a great shot, a great scene in the canoe, and it's great, and it needs to be seen. Yeah. But unfortunately, it's just it is what it is, you know. But I gotta tell you though, Harley, I really did like Jungle Captive, the movie after this, because they did take the gloves off. It was like, and it was much more of a Wolfman type story with a female character than even Captive Wild Woman was.
Yeah, because I mean, she looked like a werewolf. Because there's one point where it must have been from Captive Wild Woman, where when they're talking with Evelyn Anchor's character, like it's a trial thing, she talks about where the monster came in her window or whatever.
Yeah, in her room at night. Yeah,
and it looked like a werewolf to me. You know, a werewolf. And I'm like,
it looked like a Planet of the Apes style like makeup job, and it did look. Yes, it did look like a werewolf with more of an ape-like features.
Yeah,
and that is what you saw at the end of the film. Yeah, when they pull her out in the morgue in the cooler, and then it's what you're seeing in the next film, but it's much more in your face in the next film.
Sure. Yeah.
It's frustrating because, I mean, what we have here is it could have been a nice little trilogy like the Creature from the Black Lagoon movies. And unfortunately...
Not that third one.
Well, and you're right. And unfortunately... You're right.
The Creature one.
You're right. You're right. And this is the opposite. So in this one, the third one, to me, is by far the most entertaining, at least. The most fun, because it's a straight horror film. They're not worried about offending anyone. I mean, they just said, okay, look, this is what we're making.
This is what we're doing.
And this is what we're doing now. And since Aquanetti got screwed over, so she was basically the sacrificial lamb, so the studio could make a third one and make money.
Right.
So they wouldn't stand up for her. They wouldn't stand up for anything, but they just they cut her loose, and then they just got someone who wasn't of African American descent.
Yeah,
and then which I still to this day I'm like I don't see how that stops the controversy, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't understand it all, Mr. Ben Harley. But unfortunately, though, with Jungle Woman, I'm gonna have to. One great scene. One great scene. I love me some Aquanetta. Aquanetta. I love me some Aquanetta. It's just a bad movie, man. I mean, it's just. And then. You want to talk about poor taste? Let's not. There's a mentally challenged guy in this movie too that's handled not well at all. No. And compared to the racial element, the mentally challenged guy is handled much worse. Much worse. And well, it's just and he is not handled well. And so
there's not at all.
No, so it is what it is.
I noticed that.
Yeah. So, but again, I want to revisit, and someday we will. I don't think I actually sent it to you, but I'm going to send you Jungle Captive. It sounds like it's a terrible title. There's no interest in even hearing that title. You're like, oh, this doesn't sound good. I mean, you read the synopsis, doesn't sound good. Then you watch it, and you're like, well, this is like Monster on the Campus or something. This is like a straightforward transformation monster movie, and it's completely been buried by history and probably by the troubles the first two of these films in the series had. What are you going to do, Ben Harley?
I can't really poop on it, but it's going to be at the very mildest grape ape up I could give. Very mild. Like
you got Evelyn Anchors and you got Aquanetta. You refused to poop on that, right? Yeah.
And I really liked that canoe scene.
I did too. Wow, I really did.
So cool. Yeah. And I was impressed by that. And I don't impress easy, Tim. Right? Oh, look, blue car. Right? So really, really, that was really cool. But it just was confusing. And for me, knowing a little bit more about it, too, and stuff, it's just kind of a cheap little, I mean, basically all I did was just take half of it. Because it's only an hour long anyhow.
Oh, yeah.
And half of the stuff is the first movie or whatever.
Yeah, you're right. So that's the first quarter of it, at least, if not the first half of the movie, is just flashbacks with the wraparound scene.
And that's crappy. Yeah. That's crappy, for me. So
don't like it either.
All right, well, maybe I will. All right.
Well, for me, it's like if you got a movie from 1944, it's hard to follow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not right, So again, though, there's reasons for it. And that is why I talked about what I talked about. I have no interest in debating any of this stuff or nothing. That's just a fact. That's what happened in this movie.
Yeah.
There was a racial component to it that started an avalanche of problems with it.
Wow.
Not that this is the most important thing in history. Sure screwed up this movie. That's for sure. So, but all right,
That's
Mr.
funny.
Ben Harley. Well, that's too bad. It's too bad that, it's just too bad we have to deal with things like that to begin with. And it's too bad that, some movies with some potential like this get screwed up and other pieces of art get screwed up over hate,
exactly.
really. And hate blows. It sucks, So
Yeah, it does.
everybody go out there and be good to each other. That's all we can
Yeah.
say. And then we won't have problems like Jungle Woman. See? There you go. So,
Yeah.
I don't know how the hell that all wraps up and ties up. So, all right. Well, I don't know what we're going to do next week, Mr. Ben Harley, but it will be well rested because I'll be
Yes,
back
it will,
from
for
vacation
sure, yes.
and we'll be having a good time.
And have a
with that.
safe trip, my friend.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And you have a good, in the space-time continuum, we've already talked about
Yeah.
this, but you have a good birthday too.
Thank you, Timo. I
Yeah.
appreciate you, my friend.
You're
So, yes,
wearing balloons on your wrists and stuff. And
I think so.
good.
I'm going
Very
to cause
good.
some problems somewhere.
Oh, well,
Something.
that's good. Hey, it's your
Not
birthday.
problems,
Cause as many
yeah.
problems as you want, right?
That's right.
So,
Exactly. Yeah.
all
It's all
right.
about my day.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, all you deep thinkers out there, be good to each other and stay spooky. And we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Timo and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.